Ho ho ho! It's that time of the year again where Salvation Army people stand outside of stores ringing their little bells. So you sort of have to look away from them so you don't feel guilty as you walk inside to buy stuff. And what better a book to celebrate the holiday season than one of the most famous Christmas stories? Released in 2011, written by Lee Bermejo with art by Lee Bermejo and colors by Barbara Ciardo. This is Batman Noel. Spoiler alert, it's just A Christmas Carol with Batman. It's also narrated by this guy named Bob. But he's basically retelling the Christmas Carol, so I'm just gonna focus on the Batman part. Also, this is kind of like the sequel to the 2008 story Joker by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo. The book opens up in a snowy Gotham City. Then, Batman lands on a rooftop and races toward the bat signal high in the sky. Cut to our hero, Bob, a guy who is down on his luck trying to get money for him and his son. And he has like a low-level job at Wayne Enterprises and everything, and he's just poor. So he's taking a job as a delivery man for some shady dealings. He nervously wanders down an alley until he arrives at a boarded-up toy store. He knocks twice, places the bag down, and then the bag is pulled inside and a gift-wrapped present plops out. Bob walks away, but Batman lands in front of him. Bob freaks out and runs away, so Batman catches him by the leg, grabs him, and just fucking screams at him to tell him where the Joker is. Bob tells Batman, who is portrayed as a huge asshole because he's Scrooge, that he doesn't know where the Joker is, and he was only there to drop the bag off and leave, and then he would get a note from the Joker on what to do next. Batman just fucking screams at Bob, and God, he's like spitting into Bob's mouth. Anyway, Batman throws Bob to the ground, calls him jailbait, and lets Bob run away. If you're wondering what Batman's plan is, well, here you go. You see, to catch the Joker, Batman placed a tracker on Bob's scarf, so he can find Bob's home. Why does Batman need to know where Bob lives? Because he is using Bob as bait and is going to wait for the Joker to go to Bob's house to collect his money so that the Batman can maybe get there in time. Cut to Bob's shitty apartment. His son, Timmy, is making a Christmas tree from like a branch, a big army man figure, a beer can, and a broken beer bottle when Bob rushes inside. Bob slams the door shut and Tim walks over to show his dad the tree and, Jesus Christ, that's terrifying. Oh my God, look at his face. I thought this was a Christmas story, not a horror. Anyway, Bob yells at Tim to just not talk right now, but then he's like, geez, I'm sorry, sport. Let me see what you made. And in the background, you see like a family portrait and Bob's wife is there, who's either like left him or is dead. So it's just like, Jesus Christ, how much worse could this guy's life get? So Tim tells his dad that he's thinking of putting a little Batman on the tree, and Bob's like, oh, Batman, what's so great about Batman? I mean, the world ain't so black and white as he makes it seem. Some guys gotta do things they might not like, and then Batman comes by, and then he throws them on the ground, and he screams in their face and spits on them, but oh, he's still a good guy. Cut to Wayne Manor. Bruce is down in the Batcave, and we learn that Batman, has pneumonia or something. He's just really sick. Andy's also watching the Cratchit apartment through, security cameras that he got in there somehow. Gee, I hope that if the Joker does show up, Batman can fucking get there in time. Anyway, Alfred's like,
but, sir, he has a child.
And Batman's like,
he's a criminal degenerate. He'll raise the boy to be a criminal.
Then Alfred's just, walks back out of the cave. And as Bruce is sitting at the Bat computer coughing, he remembers the simpler times. And then, the ghost of Jason Todd appears. It's probably just a hallucination because of how fucking sick he is. And I assume he did the whole, Jacob Marley routine before disappearing. Up on the rooftop, Batman talks with Gordon, and Gordon tells Batman that Catwoman is claiming she has information on the recently escaped Joker. So as Batman is hacking up his lungs, he leaps off the building. And later he's perching on a clock tower overlooking the city when he sees her. The ghost of Christmas past! I mean Catwoman! Batman leaps off the clock tower and confronts her and says that he just isn't in the mood for games and shit. But Selina's like, oh, come on, have some fun. Then Batman begins to walk away and is like,
Waste of time. Should have known Gordon is a fool. If someone dies tonight, it's your fault, and you're going away for a long time.
Then Selina lifts her goggles and's like,
What the hell happened to you? There was a time nothing would stop you from catching me. We used to play, remember? It used to be different.
and there's like a flashback with Batman saving Robin from Catwoman. She's in her like old purple dress costume, basically saying, hey, remember when Batman used to be fun and having wacky adventures? Now he's hardened and dark. Thanks, Frank. So then Selina attacks Batman and beats his ass, and she's like, wow, maybe you are getting old. And then Batman says,
The only thing getting old is this game.
and then he chases after her because he remembers the good old times. Yay! Haha! Look how much fun Batman is having punching the Penguin. Haha! And look, there's his old chump Robin, still alive. So, Batman chases Catwoman across the rooftops, and Catwoman leaps between two buildings, just barely catching a gargoyle and then climbing up. Then it's Batman's turn. He leaps across the gap, grabs the gargoyle, only for it to break, causing Batman to plummet to the streets below. And as he falls, he remembers the night his parents died. Also, the alley he lands in his crime alley? I don't know. Anyway, as Batman is picking himself up off the ground, the ghost of Christmas Present, aka really glowy Superman, appears. Superman tells Batman that he needs to go home and that he could hear the coughing from Metropolis. Then he scans Batman and says it looks like pneumonia or something more serious. And then Batman's like,
I love how you talk like you know what it means to have pneumonia. You Kryptonians get so sick so often. Shut the fuck up, you're not a doctor.
Superman's like, okay, calm down, Bruce. Jesus, let me give you a lift to your car at least. And Batman agrees, but only on one condition. So, across the street from the Cratchit household, Batman is hunched over with a bright-ass Superman watching the place. I don't know how neither Bob nor Tim see this lighthouse with legs through their window, since Batman and Superman are standing directly in front of the house, but I digress. It's the Christmas Carol. People don't see him or something. Superman tells Batman it's kind of bad form for a hero to use parents and children as bait, but Batman tells him,
Justice comes at a price.
Superman says that the father could go to prison or worse, and Batman tells him that's good, because the surplus criminal population will be decreased. And then Superman asks what will happen to the boy, and Batman says,
I'm gonna scare him so badly he doesn't dare follow his father's footsteps.
Superman picks Batman up and says he has something to show him. So he, flies Batman over his city so that he can, look down on his people or something. Superman, flies Batman past Gordon's apartment, and Batman's like,
Wait, hold on a second. Go back there.
Batman stands on the ledge outside the fucking window while Superman just, hangs out. And Batman listens in on Gordon talking to a cop about, some Batman sightings. And the cop says Batman is a necessary evil, but Gordon says, he's not evil, he just walks the line. And I'm the guy who keeps him on the good side. And then the cop asks what Gordon will do if Batman goes too far on the other side, and Gordon tells him that he worries about that constantly. So finally, Supes flies Batman back to his car, drops him off, and flies away. But as Batman, unlocks the Batmobile, it explodes! How Superman didn't hear this, I don't know. Maybe he just sort of, stopped listening to Gotham after he left the city, because he thought Bruce would be fine since he's Batman. As Batman is lying on the ground, a figure walks towards him, and he blacks out. Batman finally regains consciousness as he's being dragged down the street. He looks up to see a pale man with green hair, and the Joker drags Batman by his cape into a nearby cemetery, and he takes Batman to a freshly dug grave and kicks him in. And as Batman lies in the grave, he gets that feeling that he's falling forever, you know the one. And basically he imagines what would happen if he died. He imagines massive riots and fires and shit, and a dark version of the Sons of Batman who just kill criminals and fight a gang of Jokers. Gordon gets arrested for aiding the Batman, obstructing justice and shit, and Wayne Manor is sold, everything is auctioned off, and Alfred is fired. Then Batman wakes up and crawls his way out of his grave, and boy is he pissed. At the Cratchit apartment, Tim is lying in bed while Bob sleeps on the ground holding a bat. Then a few knocks come from the door. Tim runs to the door, excited to see Santa. He opens the door and sees this horrifying mug. The Joker bursts in and says he has a bag of gifts for Tim and his old man. For some fucking reason, he keeps making clue jokes. Joker empties his bag and it's like a wrench, a revolver, and a pipe. Tim calls for his dad, and Bob comes from around the doorway and swings his bat at the Joker, only to miss and have the Joker bash his face in with the wrench. Then the Joker puts the revolver to Bob's face and makes another clue reference. And why does he keep doing it? Bob tries to tell the Joker that he panicked because the Batman was there, and as the Joker gets ready to pull the trigger, Batman crashes through the window. Batman kicks the revolver out of the Joker's hand and onto the floor, and the Joker goes to grab it, but Bob reaches it first, and Bob is like, "Yeah, you want to threaten my son? Who wants to play games now, clown?" And Joker's like,
Come on, I want you to do it. I want you to do it. Come on, hit me, hit me.
but Batman's like,
No, you're not a criminal. Show your son the kind of man you are. Show him what a hero is.
Then Bob stares down the Joker and puts the gun down. The police arrive and the Joker is arrested. Bob and Tim are safe, and Batman finally goes home. The next morning, the Joker is in Arkham. Bruce is finally at home getting some sleep and rest. And at the Cratchit apartment, Bob is cleaning up when someone knocks on their door. And Bob's like, "Oh shit, not again!" Bob opens the door to find two men who bring in a big old Christmas tree, prepare to fix the window, and a raise, benefits, 401k, and all that stuff. And at the police department, the officers are all drinking and having fun, and Gordon heads home. And later that night, after a nice Christmas dinner, Tim sits on Bob's lap, having fallen asleep during his boring story. The end.